when I was young, it was about how I felt and my own security, whereas I think for your generation, it's more about how other people feel about you.
I think if you're content, you're successful.
I think success is having definitely a private jet and a private helicopter.
Hello and welcome to Seriously with Sarah Beanie. Let's face it, having open and honest conversations with your family isn't always easy. But on this podcast, that's exactly what we're going to do. This week, we're talking about success, Karens, and natural beauty. What do you think success looks like?
Having a happy life.
Okay, so what do you need to have a happy life?
You need to have a mansion in LA. And you need to be really rich and really famous.
Okay, so
and anything other than that, not success.
Is unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful.
Billy's being sarcastic. It might not translate through here. I can tell by his face that he's being sarcastic. I think success is relative, and you have, however you've been brought up and whatever you know as success, that's the borderline. And if you go one step above your childhood and the childhood of your peers, then you're successful. But say, Mum, you were quite poor when you were younger, right? And you didn't have a big house or anything like that. I think you lived in a caravan for 5 years, didn't you?
A couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. So what made you go from there all the way to where we are now? Because if you managed to get a 2-bedroom house in London, that would have been success. That would have been, everyone would have been celebrating.
Well, so were you asking what drove you to?
Yeah, to be successful.
What did success look like for you?
That's a really good question. I don't know really what drove. I'm not really sure, but I think I think I need to feel I'm moving forward, which is probably not a good thing because sometimes I think it'd be really nice to be just content with where you are and just go, that's, I mean, I've never been really, I think I'm greedy. I think the thought of that being enough is, and we wouldn't, I don't know. I think enough isn't a word in my psyche. I certainly wouldn't have had 4 children you shouldn't have 4, you should have 2 and that would be enough, but I wanted more. And, we wouldn't be doing this podcast because I'm I suppose I'm open to opportunity and everything is exciting. The world out there is exciting and I just wanted to have all of it.
Keep going, yeah.
But I think that might have been driven partly by, if I'm honest, probably, but by my whole world changing when I was 10 and realizing that life is finite and, you can die at 39 quite easily. So you might as well get on with it because you're going to be dead one day anyway. Yeah. So I guess I have strived for success, which is probably to the detriment of all of you guys because, we've always been on a trajectory of moving forward in a way, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think success is actually really relative as to who you ask because I don't know any personally, but I imagine there are billionaires out there who are not half as happy as someone who just lives
normally in a little cottage.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
It's not pushing for the next biggest deal and the next thing. And I think
because a lot of really, really, really what you'd call successful people at the top of their industry, they never get home, they never see their partners, they never see their kids.
But they're obsessed with work. That's what makes them happy. If they're doing that.
Well, it's what they think makes them happy. And then
it's what they know makes them happy
and
because if they preferred being at home and they had £1 billion in the bank, they'd probably stick around at home for a bit longer.
But is it a drug that you can't?
I think definitely like the financial market, like when you look at the amount of money that you can make
it's addictive, but it's fun as well.
Is it success or is it achievement?
I don't know why I'm talking about it as if I've lived this life and I'm not really in a place to comment on any of this kind of thing.
Okay, so what I would ask you though is, does it? So when I was young, I would desperately want to own my own house. And I think my generation, the holy grail was that you live independently. You leave home, you live independently, either renting or you ideally own your own flat or house. Owning a home was really important, really important. And I wonder, that was kind of largely what success was about. Is that, I don't know if your generation thinks that's the kind of number 1 and 2 in success.
Sort of quite impossible to leave home at 17 and own a home now, though, isn't it? That's impossible for someone my age to achieve now. No one can do that.
Yes, I would agree with you that but then there is an implication that when I was young, you'd literally like nip out on a Friday, buy a couple of flats on the way home with your spare change, having gone out for supper. That is not the case. It was really hard when I was young. So I earned less than £10,000 a year. And we bought our first flat, which was 1.5 bedrooms with an outside loo. And that was it, completely unmodernised. In fact, it was condemned. And that was for £52,000. And I earned less than 10 grand. So it was still hard.
Okay, wait, hold on. Calculating. Yeah, but the average annual salary now is what, 25,000, and you could not get anything for £50,000 now.
No, but the average salary now is, say, 3 times the size of the salary then, and you could get somewhere completely unmodernised for, say, 150,000. Not in the middle of London, not in the middle of a city, but you could get some really nasty 1.5 bedroom flat somewhere for 150 grand.
But then you wouldn't be able to earn a salary because you would be in the middle of nowhere. All I'm saying is
yes,
the goal has changed now. Success has completely changed because you can't go away and buy a house. People at 35 will still be trying to won't own a house.
But when you were 19 and bought your first house, I presume the majority of your friends who were also 19 were not buying their own houses.
Nobody I knew.
That was really unusual.
Really unusual. Most of them were 30.
I don't know.
35.
I don't know. None of my friends. I'm 20, but none of my friends have their own house. But there is probably one person somewhere along who is driven and has gone and done it. No, I'm not saying that it's easier or harder, but I'm saying that it wasn't that. Yes, the house prices have gone up massively, but when you were my age, it's not exactly.
Okay, but
it wasn't straightforward or normal. It was really unusual for you to.
By the age of 25, did all your friends had they put down deposits for houses? Did they?
No, by 25, I reckon probably 25% had.
Okay, so I know one person that's 25 and has a mortgage on a house.
Okay, and they're all renting. The rest of them are all renting.
The rest are all renting, yeah.
I mean, I do think it is harder now because the house prices have gone up, but pay hasn't gone up at the same level.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot harder. But I guess then what would success be what would you count success?
So
you
success is independent living. Probably renting a place, I think is pretty, is cool.
Yeah, when I passed my driving test, I felt successful.
What, for the 8th time?
He'd had a lot of trial runs.
Deserved success there, mate.
I felt unsuccessful 7 times, but I'll tell you what, I felt more successful than I bet you felt when you passed it, when I passed on that 8th.
Yeah, because he passed
Because I hadn't
first
had
time.
the 7 unsuccesses.
So I think the success in my generation was a lot about stability, owning or renting your own home and having financial stability. That was seen as successful. Whereas I think in your generation, it feels like it's more about sort of emotional happiness and mental happiness.
Yeah, I feel like it might be partly because it's so hard to buy a house nowadays, but then I think it's not a very social media-able life.
I was
mean saying, look at my deposit account? That's, you don't think that's a post?
Yeah,
I was going to say
my pension topping up here.
But people would like judge success now on. I'm just trying to think about all the people online who you get. You know, you get who are like posing in front of like a Lamborghini or posing in front of on a beach somewhere, and then that's suddenly a success, or posing with like an expensive watch.
So it's so you can show off about it.
That's a different level of success. We're talking about, like, say, the average UK 20-year-old.
I don't think they think that they're successful though. I think the average 20-year-old doesn't look at themselves and go, oh, I'm successful, because they see other people with all of this fancy stuff.
But most 20-year-olds shouldn't feel successful necessarily.
No, I don't.
But what do they aspire to? What, having a Lamborghini that they stand up?
Well, interestingly, I think that I mean, I certainly have friends that aspire to
A Lamborghini.
well, not necessarily a Lamborghini. I just think that maybe it all comes back to like financial success. Like
But that's what it was. Financial security when I was young, I think, was considered success.
Yeah.
But a Lamborghini isn't financial security.
security.
Certainly
at all,
not.
yeah.
No, that's bling.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's probably financial insecurity, really,
Which
if you're
again
thinking about
is just, it means that everyone else sees that you have enough money to spend on a Ferrari and you're living your best life.
And therefore you're successful.
Okay, and do you think that's what makes you
No,
successful?
no.
What do you think?
I think probably quite similar to what you were thinking. I think it's doing what you want to be doing and you love, and then earning enough money to be able to do that. I think that's it. That's all I aspire to be able to do.
I've got a question though. When because I think that there's quite a lot of people that would consider you successful, and I'm asking, when was there a time when you kind of looked at yourself and went, oh, okay, hold on, I think I am successful. And when was that?
That's kind of quite interesting because no, I don't think I'm successful yet.
You don't think you're successful?
No.
Have you ever thought that you were successful?
No.
Well, then maybe that's got a big part to play in the fact that
I think if
success is about other people's perception of you.
I think if you're content, you're successful.
I think success is having definitely a private jet and a private helicopter.
So do you think that for your generation, success is a bit more about how you're perceived by other people rather than how you feel yourself?
I think that's a really good way to put it. Yeah. And I think that social media and Instagram plays into that a lot as well, because that's obviously, there's a guy called Dan Bilzerian on who I've seen on Instagram. He quite literally just is on a yacht. I think he made loads of money playing poker, and he literally just goes onto a yacht and he gets, I don't know, 20 of the most famous and attractive Instagram models onto this boat and just takes photos. I mean, he looks like one of the driest blokes I've ever seen speak in my entire life. But people look at him and go, he's successful because he's able to, and so he's perceived to be incredibly successful.
But that's quite a pressure to keep up, isn't it? I actually feel a bit sorry for your generation for that, because when I was young, it was about how I felt and my own security, whereas I think for your generation, it's more about how other people feel about you. I think it is true, probably, that your generation thinks that happiness is more about the now, the moment, and I think
Happiness, probably.
Yeah, well, I think success is happiness for your generation in a way, and I quite admire that, because
I think as long as you're not comparing your happiness with the happiness of other people.
So now we're going to have a break, and after that, Mum, we're going to quiz you on some internet culture. So, Mum, are you familiar with the term Karen?
I do know the name Karen, obviously, but I have heard the term Karen because Rafi calls me Karen. You call me Karen as well.
Oh, I've tried.
I've never called you Karen
No,
before.
you haven't. You're lovely. You're my favourite.
But now you're making me sound like a calling her Karen.
You're 100%. You are.
Well, Mum, you when I call you a Karen, you definitely deserve it. Just so you know, everyone, this is nothing against the name Karen. I think it's a lovely name. It's just developed as a term.
Where did it come from initially?
I think it started when middle-aged white women were getting unnecessarily angry at young black men, and it was on TikTok and in person as well. But then it kind of evolved to mean what it means now, which is pretty much anyone being a pain in the arse.
For no reason.
For no reason. And always trying to be painful. So, for example, you get someone skateboarding down the road trying to do a skateboarding trick. You get someone come up, it's not really their business, but they come up and they go, you're not allowed to do that here.
There was a little kid that was selling water on the street, and then a Karen came up to him and called the police on him because apparently you're not allowed to sell water on the street. Oh, there was actually
Yeah,
some
no,
law
that was
about
It
it.
used to be
was
called
it.
a jobsworth when I was young.
Yeah, kind of. So
But it's only a woman.
I think
You could have a dad as being you could have a middle-aged man being a Karen.
Imagine if you were called Karen now.
I think that no one's calling, kids Karen anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the name's nearly vanished because of Karen being
You couldn't give birth to a Karen though, could you?
Yeah.
That would be horrible. Imagine breastfeeding Karen.
A little, but I'm kind of with you. I'm with you, Chuck, because there are names now that you have to like, that you couldn't imagine being a baby. You have to like Dave. Could you imagine like nowadays, like this is baby Dave.
No, or Derek.
Derek, this is baby
No, because
Derek.
I feel like Derek could actually be quite sweet.
This is
Little
Phil.
Derek.
Oh, this is our baby Phil.
That's not a baby's name either.
No, you kind of have to osmose into the world at
Graham.
like 40.
No.
Yeah, Graham's
Graham
a terrible
wouldn't
name,
work.
and that's our dad's name. So like we can say that.
I got a really old friend called Karen, who I'm very fond of. So I sort of feel rather defensive about the name. But when you've called me Karen, I genuinely don't think that I'm unreasonable in any of the situations. There are always situations where I am actually being quite controlled about the fact that someone else is being incredibly
Okay,
unreasonable.
so
So
what
your
it
inner
usually-
Karen coming out now. That's what it
So,
is.
so what it usually is someone's probably a bit like me, that's slightly incompetent, doing a job that they don't quite comprehend yet, and you're calling up, say, the bank, and you go, "Oh, I want to go and do something," and they're probably like me, going, I'm going to do my best to make that." Okay, and then you go, "Jesus Christ, it's absolutely a waste of my time."
But the point
And
is,
this poor 18-year-old kid that's just managed to get this job this week is going like,
First day,
I'm sorry.
first day on the job. This is so complete, such a waste of my time. Can I speak to your manager, please?
that is because I've been put on hold for like 3.5 hours.
No, I know it's
And my
irritating.
point is, obviously, it isn't that person's fault, but the bank has decided not to train that person and then basically take my money to have a bank account and then they only put someone on the end of the phone. And it would be okay if they answer the phone. But have you noticed that you know, when you ring up a lot of these people, particularly banks or British Gas or an electricity board, they always say there's an unusually high number of calls at the moment, and so we'll be with you shortly. And I think, well, when is the usual short number of calls? Because they just basically don't employ enough people, so that they can have bigger bonuses. And then they employ people on minimum wage who they get to answer the phone like you, who don't know anything about the bank. I get so cross.
No, I know you get cross, but you're not. But that's not what a Karen isn't. Someone that gets cross. A Karen is someone that is getting angry about stuff that they not
It's like
not-
malicious. It's just
It's a
unneeded.
bit malicious, and they're busybodies in
So
that
it's not
sense.
someone who gets cross because they've been made to hold on the phone.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Unreasonable, really unreasonable, kind of poisonous, and also completely and totally none of their business.
You know the term like killjoy or
Yeah.
or a party pooper? That's another one.
Or a joy sap.
Yeah, Joy Sap. And kind of like a busybody, like that's a part of it as well. Like putting it's none of your business, but you're getting involved in it anyway. People love that online, don't they? They like finding out that someone's done something that they probably shouldn't have. Like there's that guy Cycling Mikey. Have you seen Cycling Mikey online? Who cycles
Pretty into
around?
cycling, Mikey.
Oh my God, he's so annoying. He cycles around London and then with a camera and like videos people in their cars in stationary traffic on their phone. And he's like, ha ha, that's 3 points. Ha ha. How he hasn't been leathered yet. No idea.
Cycling, Mikey needs a punch in the face.
Yeah,
is what he
literally, that's
needs.
what I'm saying. He's like, that's 3 points. And then when they get out of the car, he's like, you're gonna come and get me, are you? Oh, you're gonna come, like
Yeah, but
baiting them to
but
the
they
new
probably shouldn't
degree.
be on their phone.
No, they shouldn't be on their phone. But if they're in stationary traffic, I know they shouldn't be on their phone. And I'm not saying that.
I
I'm
suppose
not
if they
condoning.
are actually, if they've got the handbrake.
But they're quite
on.
literally sat in stationary traffic in the middle of Hyde Park, and Cycling Mikey goes, "Oh, what's your name, sir? You've just been caught. Number plate. You've just been caught." And then they get out
Is
of the
he
car.
a Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, he's a
probably
massive
the
Top Karen.
top
Like
top Karen.
leading.
I think he
There
was
should be
actually.
Do you know
Karen
what's more
Awards.
annoying?
What about Karen Awards?
I think someone actually did some community service and actually did just punch him in the face the other day. But
Do you know what's even more annoying is that he'll release those videos. He'll have an Instagram account, Cycling Mikey, and a TikTok account, and he'll be earning loads.
yeah,
of
he
money
does.
from
He
it.
does. He's
That's
got loads
really
of followers.
annoying, actually.
From
But
basically being
so
a
that would be-
glorified tax collector. And what's it called? A glorified
Point collector.
what? No,
Traffic
what's
warden.
Traffic warden.
You shouldn't be rude about traffic wardens. Someone's got to do the job.
No, I know.
Fair. Or everyone could just not do the job.
That is the other option. I think what happens in middle age is that you get very frustrated by people being incompetent.
No, I think the truth is every single person gets frustrated. It's just, if I get frustrated, I'm an angry boy that's frustrated. If you get frustrated, you're a Karen.
That seems massively unfair. Okay.
Yeah, it is unfair.
I mean, actually, realistically, it is a little bit unfair.
I asked a question on Instagram as to what subjects people would like to cover between two generations. And after the break, we're going to talk about one of those. They wanted to kind of open a conversation about the amount of young people your age who use, have a lot of beauty treatments. So it might be fillers or Botox, and why they feel they need to do it. And there's a lot of makeup, isn't there? So there's some people on Instagram who are Instagram or, social media influencers, and they kind of paint. It's actually quite amazing what they do. It's like a painting, but there is no face left. It's not makeup. It's like a piece of artwork.
I'm going to be really honest. I just don't think it's anyone else's business. If someone wants to paint a face of makeup or get some lip filler, they should go ahead and get lip filler. I just don't care.
I'm so with you.
I mean, if you're worried about their health, because Botox actually can be dangerous if you have too much of it. It can be. But
I think it can if you have really. I think if
you have really bad, really
Botox.
cheap Botox, then 100%.
Quite nice to see legislation to make sure that people do it with clean needles and stuff. So I've got a bit of a question mark with this because it's sort of like, where do you start and where do you stop? And I would sort of agree that judging is hard because who you say that is and isn't okay? Like, for instance, is it okay to, if you've got like really sticky out ears, is it okay to get them pinned back? Because that's plastic surgery.
it's okay to do whatever you want to your body.
Mate, if you feel better when you put makeup on, put makeup on. We wear eyeliner when we go on stage.
That's true.
So we look cool.
I mean, you wear makeup. Why have you ever bothered wearing makeup? Everyone likes looking at themselves and feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, I do. I think that is something okay about trying to look your best.
Yeah, trying to make
okay.
yourself
I guess
look
it's
good.
when your self-esteem is attached to the outcome of that.
That's very true.
100%. 100%.
If someone feels as though they are inadequate unless they look like something else, and the only way that they can be happy is to try and look like something else. And very often I think what happens is
they're then
they
looking
don't end up looking like
They're
that.
looking for happiness in the wrong place then.
Well, that's... Yeah. They're looking for happiness by what other people think
I do think
of
that
them.
there could be a difference between like girls and boys, because I think definitely girls of more girls wear makeup than boys wear makeup. But I also think that, especially like beauty and how beautiful you are, people can be more judgmental about girls than about blokes. Like, if you look at all those shit magazines where they're like putting out like, oh my God, this celebrity is put on a bit of weight. And that suddenly is a massive deal. And not they think it's a massive deal, but that doesn't tend to happen to men.
Don't you think if you're sort of a 12-year-old girl and you spend hours scrolling through social media and all you see is women's faces, which have got filters on them and mean that they're trying to look like that face that's got a filter on, that could be quite difficult for them.
This is the damaging thing, is that you get teenage girls looking at people like, I don't know, just off the top of my head, someone like Kendall Jenner, who is totally drop dead gorgeous. I mean, she's, a supermodel. And then you get teenage girls comparing themselves to someone like Kendall Jenner. Or, for example, Kate Moss. And you're like, well, I don't look like Kate Moss, so therefore I'm feeling a bit, unhappy with myself.
I think what we need to remember is that we're definitely in a household where there's zero 12-year-old girls. So I feel like we're probably not.
The only girl we really speak to is you, who's sort of...
And I'm just older than 12.
I reckon we're the wrong family podcast to talk about 12-year-old girls' opinions.
Yeah, I think that's...
We must get a 12-year-old girl in here one day and talk to her.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do. We'll get her opinion. That's what we should do, another podcast.
I think the problem is that kids are looking at these literally just a bikini photo of a girl online and thinking, oh my God, that's what I want to do. When actually that's not that's like such a small and insignificant part of your life. People shouldn't be looking at people in bikinis and going, that's what I want to be. They should be looking at someone who's actually doing something.
I think that
as opposed to idolizing a way someone looks.
instead of being jealous of someone's looks and really wanting that, why don't you look at someone and go, yeah, you're fucking beautiful, but I am also beautiful in my own way, and I don't want to look like you, I want to look like me. Everyone wants to be happy with how they look. And instead of aspiring to someone that they see on TikTok, they should be aspiring to be the best version of themselves, if that makes sense.
I think that naturally, I think we human beings can be quite jealous. And I think that sometimes maybe you need to kind of check yourself. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that I find myself doing this. I think sometimes I need to be like, oh, hold on, they're them and I'm me. And I think what Charlie's saying is that the only person that can be happy is in my own skin is me. So I need to try and, do that before.
And then that's not to say I still don't want to look like Brad Pitt from Fight Club. I still do.
I've got a couple of friends who have had boob jobs at my age, and like they wanted bigger boobs, but
Fair.
Yeah. And so I was like, and that's their prerogative. I'm like, that's cool. But do you think people your age would go, that's not cool. That's not okay. We're worried about that.
That's really interesting because I have friends who definitely, largely, they fall into three camps. They fall into the no, you should never do that.
Mm-hmm.
The do whatever you want, don't really care if you want to do it, that's fine. And yes, it's absolutely fantastic. Look at my great fake tits.
Yeah.
And being someone who's got a pair of fake tits, I think I probably can't judge.
We're not saying that it's not difficult, and like that some of the standards that you see are super unattainable and kind of can make you feel shit. But I don't think that that's necessarily just beauty standards. I think that that's
all standards.
Yeah, all standards.
Yeah, and there is something really sad, I think, about people who it sort of takes over their lives.
But an obsession with lip filler is probably quite similar to an obsession with tattoos, say. And someone that's got loads of tattoos on their body, just because you quite like it, it's then okay. But loads of lip filler isn't okay.
I guess I'm just wondering why people feel so much about it.
That's something that I really don't know. I don't know why people would feel anti, makeup or plastic surgery.
Do you think they're worried that young girls feel pressured that they have to do it?
I think that's definitely a worry of mine as well. Definitely, if people are being pressured into
doing stuff that they don't want to do.
I think that's something that really needs to be addressed, definitely. Why people are being pressured and how we can make people feel comfortable within their own skin. But if that is a bit of Botox, I think that is okay.
I think people are feeling pressured because of what they see online.
Yeah, of what they see online, or their friend gets lip filler and their friend then has really good plump lips, and then you want to go and get some lip filler because your friend looks good with their lips.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that different in a way to having, your eyebrows waxed or...
Exactly. I don't know.
You and Dad didn't truly bless me, so I try and make myself look as good looking as possible, if I'm going to go to a party or something.
Billy sneaks off to get the occasional lip filler every now and then.
Do you?
Well, I'm just saying I'm kind of working with what I've got.
No, you're very handsome.
That means the world coming from you, Charlie, my brother.
Yeah. It's Charlie and Granny, you both think you're beautiful.
I know. Wow, God. The two people that really matter.
Maybe the thing is, if you've got a lot going on in your life, you haven't got time to worry about this too much. You might worry about it a bit. You might go and do the odd thing here, but when it takes up all of your waking hours worrying about it because you're not playing hockey or football or I don't know, planting trees, or you're not doing another thing because you haven't got anything else on apart from worrying about it and looking at people that you're comparing yourself to and thinking, how do I achieve that? Once it becomes more than like 5% of your waking day, then maybe you should find some other stuff to put in the other 95% of your waking day.
Yeah, I think it's really bad to have a relationship with, where you're looking at yourself too much. It's unnatural. Don't concentrate on how you look, because there's so much more to life than what your face looks like.
Yeah, and ultimately, would it be fair to say, obviously, as you are boys, and these questions were about girls, how much do you care as boys as to how perfect somebody's...
A girl's face is?
Yeah.
Pretty much zero if she's fun.
Oh, is that it?
I mean, obviously, if a girl is absolutely beautiful, you're more likely to... You'd be more inclined to her, for starters. But the truth is, if a girl is fun, then you wouldn't want to be with a boring girl that you didn't get on with, would you?
So actually 90% of it is being fun. So have some interests, go and do some other things, because that makes you more attractive than having cracking lips.
100%.
If you know a young person who is struggling with their self-esteem, there are places that you can go to get some free advice. And that's Action for Children, which is actionforchildren.org.uk. Or if you know someone who's struggling with body image, you can go to the Young Minds website, and there's loads of information there about body image and how to chat about that. That's at youngminds.org.uk. Thank you very much for joining me again on the sofa. And should we do this again next week?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Same time, same place. If you'd like to submit a topic for us to discuss, please email us. The address is mail@seriouslywithsarahbeanie.co.uk. Seriously was created by me, your host, Sarah Beanie, and our producer, Jonathan Profaska. The show is recorded and edited by Jonathan Profaska and Christian Kay.